Hello everybody, welcome back. It's Sport Federation TV. We keep taking a look with sport in the Western Cape, and of course with a focus in the Cape Town area. We speak to our clubs, our federations, our administrators, coaches, players, managers, all of them here on Sport Federation TV. We are thrilled right now to say that in studio we have the president of South African baseball, Mr. Marc Moreau. Marc, welcome to Sport Federation TV.
Yeah, thank you for the invite. Thank you.
First time for you in studio with us?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. But you're of course no stranger to TV and broadcasting in baseball side of things. It's popular sport.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more popular. So we do have the opportunities of being present at TV interviews, etc. Yeah.
So baseball on a global space is. I mean, a lot of people say to us sometimes that they didn't know we've got a baseball team in South Africa.
Correct, yeah.
But we, of course, do, and you're more than 100 years old, I believe.
Yeah, that is correct. We are a very old sports federation, and I believe we are a very fast-growing sport, particularly with new formats that we have, like Baseball 5, which is a general trend in all sports federation. That's one of the fastest growing sports in the world, actually, which has now been admitted as a youth Olympic sport in Dakar. So that will be the first attendance of a Baseball 5 in an Olympic tournament.
So what's the difference between baseball and Baseball 5? Okay,
so baseball is traditional baseball. You have a big baseball field, and we have 9 players on the field. And you have another 10, 15 in the dugouts because obviously in baseball you have a lot of pitching exchanges, etc. With Baseball 5, it's a 5-a-side, and you play on an 18-square diamond. So it can be played indoor, outdoor. It's also gender equal, which is one of the very few sports in the world that are gender equal.
Boys and girls playing at the same time?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have. There has to be a minimum of 2 girls and 2 boys on the field, and the 5th one can be either or. Yeah.
Marc, tell us a little bit, what is the starting point for baseball? What's the first entry point for kids when they start playing?
Okay, so before Baseball 5, there was always T-ball. Yeah. So there the kids start playing probably at around 6 years old, and they hit off a tee, so because they would obviously have a lot of problems obviously hitting the ball if somebody was throwing it to them.
Yeah. So how old are you? At what age is that?
That's between 6 and 10 years old. Yeah, okay. Absolutely, yeah. And then you get some countries introduce like pitch ball, which a coach throws the ball, in a certain area, so it's easier for the batter to hit the ball. And then obviously the real baseball starts at U12, basically. Yeah.
Right. So we've noticed that we've noticed that baseball is not a quick sport. Especially with you guys and your pitches, it takes years to develop players. It's not like rugby where you can learn in a few months and play in the first team. You've got a long-term process.
I'd like to think that rugby players can play in a few months and play in the first team, but yeah, I think particularly pitching is an important part of baseball, and if you don't have good pitchers, you'll struggle to win a game. So, and to develop good pitchers is generally a big problem in baseball countries that are not predominantly baseball, because it takes really years to pitch. Because nowadays, the pitchers are throwing 100 an hour, whereas our top pitchers in South Africa are maybe throwing 85.
Right.
But then they're obviously playing 3, 4, 5 times a week, whereas we are practicing twice a week and we're playing once a week. So there's a big difference. But if we want to play and compete at an international level consistently, we've got to create and develop pitchers, because without pitching at that level, you generally struggle.
So we're a little bit late to the party here, but in the last few months, the South Africa sports fraternity and international fraternity have done nothing but sing the praises of South African baseball.
Correct.
The question that of course came was, we didn't know we got a baseball team in South Africa, and then all of a sudden the baseball fans started screaming about supporting the South African baseball team. We've never seen anything like it, and all of this came about because of your recent participation in Taiwan, which is of course an international competition. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so Major League Baseball, together with World Baseball, they run a competition which is called the World Baseball Classics. It's effectively the World Cup for senior baseball. And basically, you get invited to this tournaments, and so we generally are invited every 4 years to participate in a qualifier first. So we were invited to participate in the qualifier in Taiwan, which was fantastic for our boys because they played in the dome, in the Taipei Dome, which is an unbelievable venue for baseball. It was an event which basically showcased South African baseball. And despite our senior team only playing, every 3-4 years, unfortunately, because of the cost of travel, they participate very well. They lost in the first game against the eventual champions of the qualifier, Nicaragua. We lost in extra innings, so it was very, very exciting, and we participated very well in the other 2 games. Unfortunately, we didn't qualify, which would have been fantastic for South African baseball. But I think we made a mark for South African baseball. Yeah.
Right, folks, we've got a short little video to show you of some of the action in Taipei, where Team South Africa was competing against some of the other international teams. Take a look at this, and you'll see just how spectacular this is. This is the Taipei Dome indoor stadium with AstroTurf and 43,000 fans singing at the same time.
First, the coaches said.
Mark, looking at that video, that must have been quite incredible. What an amazing facility. As I said, there's AstroTurf there, 43,000 fans singing at the same time at the loudest noise. That must have been quite an intense atmosphere.
Yeah, intense, intimidating, call it what you like. But at the same time, very exciting for our players, which would have never, played in such an atmosphere before.
Yeah.
So we were fortunate that one of our players had played in Taiwan before.
That was, of course, Dylan Unsworth?
Correct.
He's an international player,
He's an international professional player who has played in, in the States and around the world, and has featured very, very well as a pitcher. So he had a bit of experience playing in Taiwan, and he was obviously extremely well known there as well, which we were all very surprised.
A couple of other names that jump out there as well: Jonathan Phillips, Anthony Phillips, Justin Erasmus.
Correct.
You've got some big names in your squad.
We have some very experienced names. Some of them have obviously, not playing professional baseball any longer. But we've got some very, very experienced players and a lot of very upcoming, junior players there. So it's looking good for South African baseball for the future.
That was one of the things that also stood out as a highlight, that you had some of the under-23s playing in the seniors, the likes of Josh November, Luke November, brothers, the Smith family also playing in the team?
No, that was obviously a highlight was the Smith family, because we had Darren Smith as the pitching coach, and we had his 2 sons playing in the same team. And then we also had, Joshua Tribe, so in all, we've got about 23 young players playing in college baseball in the States.
Right.
So that's really exciting for the future of South African baseball. I think that the challenge we have is obviously trying to compete on a more regular basis, because then we would obviously be able to perform, better. Yeah.
More recently, closer to home, in Cape Town at Chaka Road, you had the National Baseball Championships, what you guys refer to as the NBC.
Yes.
More than 40, close on 50 teams participating, thousands of athletes over a 10-day period. That also drew quite a crowd.
Yes, we obviously always have this, we have our annual event, which is the NBC, which is a combination of mostly provincial sides, but also district sides, depending on the popularity of the game in certain provinces. That was exceptionally exciting for the youngsters. We play from under 10s, which we recall a friendship season, because there's no real competition. We try and explain that to the parents, which was obviously very challenging, because the parents are more competitive than the under 10s. And then under 12s, from under 12 onwards, it's very exciting. We had under 12s, under 15s, under 18s, and we had girls under 15s and under 18s as well. It was very exciting, and lots of lots of people, spectators. We had good weather, luckily enough. So it was a really great week, and then that basically followed with the senior tournament for the next week. Yeah.
Mark, on a final note, what comes next for you guys now? You've got a lot of world championships to participate in.
Correct. Yes. So we've the first tournament now is the Baseball 5 tournament, which will be the Africa's southern region, which will see the participation of Lesotho, Botswana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and South Africa in a Baseball 5 tournament in Moreau in Lesotho.
Yeah.
That's at the end of May. And then in July, we have the World Cup under 12. We qualified to participate in the World Cup, and that's also in Taiwan, by the way. And then we have the under 18s that are participating in the World Cup. That will be in Japan later in the year.
Marc Moreau, President of South African Baseball, it's been a pleasure to have you in studio. We obviously need to get you back in. There's so much more to talk about. But yeah, congratulations on what has been referred to as the best performance by a South African team at an international stage ever. And we can't wait to see how baseball keeps growing in South Africa.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for the invite.
There we go, folks. Amazing stuff coming from South African baseball. So make sure that you keep your eyes peeled. Go and visit their website, www.sabaseball.co.za, for all the information of what's happening with baseball and, of course, how you can get started. There's always a club near you. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Have a fantastic sporting weekend. Bye-bye.